So here we are again, back by unpopular demand. And honestly, I thought I was done with Dark Santa, but the music gods had other ideas. I was on my way back from my COVID test this morning in preparation for leaving for South Africa tomorrow. And the album on my seat next to me that went into the CD player, because, yep, I was playing off the CD player, which right now makes me kind of OG. The album was Signals from 1981. What at the time was quite a divisive or even a divisive album for Rush, but increasingly with hindsight is sort of one of the foundational pieces of the puzzle, if you like. And this is a song. This is one of the two songs really that always comes up when I'm in transition, when I'm in that interstitial place, that space between places in preparation for moving. The other one being Steve Hogarth's amazing lyric, "Everyone I love lives somewhere else." And certainly since about 2005, I've worked in South Africa and spent time in the UK with my family, and spent increasingly large amounts of time in South Africa and small amounts of time with my family. And then for the last 2 years, trapped in the cage of COVID with everybody else. And so suddenly separated from South Africa. And in all of those cases, everyone I love lives somewhere else. And when I'm with the people that I love here, I miss the people that I love there desperately, and vice versa. So that's a lyric that always spins around in my head when I'm in the process of traveling and preparing to traveling. And the other one is this lyric, the Analogue Kid. Now, I picked a live version of this track from Clockwork Angels tour, which I was lucky enough to see twice. And I don't even want to begin to describe how lucky I felt to see this tour on 2 occasions, and to see this performed live. I don't necessarily, in all honesty, think it's the best vocal performance from Geddy. I think that, towards the end of their live touring, Geddy's voice was starting to feel the strain in the older songs. I think they wrote Clockwork Angels to suit his voice, but there's no question it's not the finest vocal performance, but it's a blistering guitar solo. And these are 3 musicians that are still absolutely at the top of their game. But more importantly, this is a fantastic lyric from Neil Peart. It's an amazing lyric that is very evocative and very important for me. This is as Geddy, I suspect, is about to say, this is the Analogue Kid.
This is the kid, this is the Analogue Kid.
So it's immediately interesting to notice that thematically this shares an awful lot with Subdivisions. Thematically, this track speaks an awful lot about that sort of longing for that place over there, the other, the big city, the sort of like moths to the flame. As I can't remember the exact lyric from Subdivisions because I've got this lyric on my mind, but this and Subdivisions definitely in the same WhatsApp group. But also, I think it shares a lot with tracks like Middletown Dreams, and to an extent Losing It, where Neil is painting this fantastic, very simple, dare I say, almost Tom Sawyer-like picture of a particular American idiom, North American, let's say, idiom, North American experience. That idea of the boy in the particular place and time. I mean, these are very, very simple images, but just the image of the boy with the grass between his teeth, the flash of silver leaves rocking in the breeze, those images are to me very, very evocative of an almost, it seems odd to say it, but an almost Charlie Brown type view of that picture of that world. It's an idyllic, rural idyll. Idyllic idyll. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm supposed to be a writer. I get paid to use words. That was awful. But I love how he paints the picture of this young man, and the vague sensation quickens in his young and restless heart. And this lovely, bright and nameless vision that has him longing to depart, that idea that as idyllic as this place that he's in is, that place over there has magnetism for him. It has draw for him, which is where the chorus comes in. So, right there is the dichotomy, right? Right there is the balancing act that I feel like Neil played for a lot of his life. The balancing act between wanting to do what he did so well, better than anyone in the world, arguably, and to lead the life that he wanted, which might have been one of anonymity, out of the limelight. The dichotomy between the guy that grew up working in his father's, I want to say tractor parts business, the kid that might well have ended up just working the stock room up to the point that he managed his dad's business, to the boy that went on to perform on a big red carpet in front of, I'm going to say 10,000 people, probably easily in a venue like that. That dichotomy between being moved, being emotionally connected with your place in the woods, beneath the winter skies of that rural idyll, and the draw of the open sea carrying you to the city lights and the busy streets and potentially dizzy heights. That dichotomy, that push, pull, that dynamic tension. I remember Charles Atlas used to ascribe all his muscle building to dynamic tension, that pushing and pulling at the same time, so that you're locked in dynamic tension. This is a push and a pull, a dynamic tension between you move me and you call me. And I think surely we all feel that in some way. We all feel the pull of where we want to go versus the inertia of where we are. The pull of the direction we'd like to move in to the inertia of the direction in which we're moving. I think that's why this song, which is telling the story of a young boy that may or may not have been Peart, or may simply have been Peart's imagination and a metaphor for other things, I think that's why this speaks to us. Can we just say this was derided as a pop album, as too soft? This was derided as too soft. How does this track, how much does this track rock? And okay, I think it's slightly quicker live, but this is a fantastic rocking song. Now, if we didn't have enough picture of our young boy, of our tussle-haired, blonde young boy, we now get his baseball cap pulled down to cover up his eyes. We get the hawk overhead. We get this amazing picture. We almost hear his mother's voice calling to him, Neil, Neil, and him just pulling his hat down and staying in that place of dynamic tension. But most importantly, we get the fawn-eyed girl with sun-brown legs who dances on the edge of his dreams, whose voice rings in his ears like the music of the spheres. Oh, how this verse always spoke to me. In 1981, I definitely had a fawn-eyed girl, and for years afterwards, there was a fawn-eyed girl whose voice and whose eyes and voice and not at all sun-brown legs danced on the edge of my dreams. And this always tracks me back to that young love, let's call it, that sense of possibility. And of course, you know, nostalgia, as we've discussed time and again, nostalgia is wrapped up in music. But all in all, we're back to this incredibly powerful imagery of a young boy who is trapped between where he is and where he dreams of being, and is in that moment of balance. It's Friday night, and tomorrow he gets on a plane. Well, actually, tomorrow he gets on a train, and then he gets to a hotel, and then he overnights, and then he gets on a plane, then he gets on another plane, then he gets to where he's going. But in that moment of balance, that moment caught between where you are and where you're going, that's an important moment. An interstitial, a liminal place. It's the liminal place. The airport is the liminal place, and this boy is in the liminal place, the place between things. Hard to imagine how unhappy a lot of Rush fans were with those very simple synthesizer pads. How could you get so upset about such very simple synthesizer pads? How young and stupid we were. And that, right there, is the reason why this song is almost always on my mind when I travel. It's the reason why this song is almost always ringing in my head at some point in this moment of balance between places. Too many hands on my time, too many feelings, too many things on my mind. I think we can all relate to that. When I leave, I don't know what I'm hoping to find. When I leave, I don't know what I'm leaving behind. That dynamic there, that dichotomy, that dynamic tension between not knowing what you're hoping to find and not knowing what you're leaving behind, and the understanding that both of those answers will only arrive when you are in the opposite place. Only when you get there will you realize what you've left behind. Only before you go can you ever really, what am I trying to say? You can never really know what you're going to get when you get there. I can't know exactly how the next 3 months are going to go. Am I going to win a poker tournament and finally be able to buy my signature Geddy Lee bass? Is the show that's about to start shooting going to be 13 weeks of amazing television like I'd hope it is and get me more work? Is the other show going to be 6 weeks of amazing television that shows around the world and hopefully gets me more work? What am I hoping to get out of the 3 months, and what am I leaving behind, and what is the cost between those two things? And every single trip has that same dynamic, and that's why this song is my traveling song. And the reason why this song is absolutely stunning, quite apart from everything else, fantastic lyrics, amazing band doing amazing things, the standout moment is Alex Lifeson just tearing the roof off. Mr. Alex Lifeson. The Poppy album. He made that. Ah, Neil. I mean, Lifeson tears the roof off and Geddy's soloing over there and nobody's even paying attention, and Peart is just, Peart is just. And this was, what? This was 10 years ago now, this tour? Am I right in saying that? I think maybe I am. Yeah, I'm in the interstitial place, the liminal place, between places. Except I'm not, because this is probably going to go out maybe 5 or even 6 weeks from now, in which case I'm in South Africa in the sun, and hopefully when I get back, Dark Santa will no longer be in evidence. We shall see. I'm absolutely certain this is the last of these for now. I hope you've enjoyed it. I love this song, I love this lyric, and it's relevant. It's as relevant to me today as it was in 1981, when I had more hair and probably more dreams. No, different dreams. Never would have imagined never would have imagined that I would be a professional writer, people paying me for my words, and a few people listening to me talk nonsense on the interwebs. And for that, I thank you, and I urge you to keep the faith. See you next time.